But we did see a niche. Just, hey, wait a minute. There's a hole in the marketplace where there's not really realtors that offer staging services the way that we could offer. It's different. But our clientele is also very much like us. They profile like, many of them look just exactly like we do. They've been relocated many times. They've sold many houses. They kind of know the routine of what it takes to sell a house. And so when we come in and offer, hey, we can take care of it while y'all are gone. We understand what you're going through. It resonates with them.
Thank you for joining in for another episode. We are here today with Mark and Catherine Goodner, part of the Goodner team. We will be talking to both of them in terms of a little bit with Mark in regards to life after corporate, and then also dive into how they have journeyed together and now work together. So thank you for joining, Mark and Catherine. Mark, I know you from corporate. We worked together on a client, and you worked in sales. And I wanted to ask, what led you to start your own thing outside of corporate?
Okay. Well, I mean, I've always had this entrepreneurial side, and we're in real estate now, which is where we started when we first met. So after 30 years in corporate sales, management, the works, I had an opportunity to say, hey, let's go back and do what I really always wanted to do, and that's run a real estate company.
And why does that interest you? And kind of just coming back to the beginning, can you share your story of how you guys met? Because it kind of tells the story of what led us to where we are today, where you guys work together.
Sure. I mean, a short run of it, real estate for me, I got my license, my real estate license when I was 18. And I was just looking for a way to, how can I put myself through college? Mm-hmm. And so that's where we met. We were at the University of Texas, and we met in Austin, and we met at a property management company. And so I was managing apartment complexes, student housing, and we were using we had to have licenses to do that.
And that kind of flows into what you did in corporate sales, right? So working with clients, and you did that for how long?
30 plus years. So yeah, it was easy 30 plus years. Multiple cities, we started in Austin, Houston, Atlanta, Knoxville, back to Atlanta, back into Houston, and then finally here in New Braunfels. So we did the corporate journey. And
it's true. Yes. True. Yes.
But the real estate piece was always there for us. So what we did every time we got reload is we would look for the best neighborhood we can afford, but find the worst house in that neighborhood. And I'd go to work every morning. Catherine would stay home, and ultimately she'd fix it up. And then 2 years later, when the assignment was over, we had a beautiful house to sell, and it worked nicely for us. So we've been ultimately flipping houses for a long time.
And how did you learn that? Was that just because of the property management background that you had when you first started out of college?
Right. Well, we happen to like nice neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. And so we were always trying to squeeze into the nicest neighborhood we could get into. And so it was not by necessarily design, it was the sorriest house in the neighborhood. It was the one we could afford. Mm-hmm. So, but by the time we would leave, it'd be one of the nicest. So it just worked out for us.
Okay. And Catherine, when you first met Mark, was what you do now, which is staging the homes, was that something you did as well? Was that a passion, or was that something that you discovered afterwards?
It was not a passion when we first met. In fact, when we first met, I have a business degree from the University of Texas. I thought I was going to go into corporate as well, but decided that that's just not my personality. I don't have the fortitude for that. Mm-hmm. So, I think my creativity really came about when we were transferred to other cities. When Mark was traveling every single week, he was on an airplane, and I was at home and I was bored, and I started painting things and wallpapering, and I would reupholster chairs, and I sewed, and I made pillows, and I made draperies, and
so I'd leave on Monday, and then come back late Thursday night, Friday morning, and the house would be different. If every time it was just, okay, well, okay. Yeah, this is home. Okay, got it.
And then when we had children, I would put my little ones to bed at 8 o'clock and I'd still be awake and I would be doing these things. And when my boys got a little bit older, I would have them help me move furniture around. And they would get so frustrated because I would say, okay, let's move the table over here and move the chair over here. And then I'd say, okay, I don't like it. Let's move it all back. So it was, those are memories for them. Yeah. Not necessarily good, not necessarily bad. So
did you always plan to work as a couple? Because I know you mentioned that you started with property management, but did you plan to work in business together where you are now?
I don't think so. Yeah.
No.
That just naturally happened.
It just happened that we've gone back to where we started. It didn't mean to, but we've always been a team. Mm-hmm. Just because, I mean, we'd be relocated to a new city and didn't know a soul. So it's always been the two of us for 30 some odd years. So
35.
That team's always been there. But I don't know, but we did see a niche. Hey, wait a minute. There's a hole in the marketplace where there's not really realtors that offer staging services the way that we could offer. It's different, and so our clientele is also very much like us. They profile like many of them look just exactly like we do. They've been relocated many times. They've sold many houses. They kind of know the routine of what it takes to sell a house, and so when we come in and offer, hey, we can take care of it while y'all are gone. We understand what you're going through. It resonates with them.
And I think the staging piece, I know that in Florida, I've seen it here. I think that does go a long way because you are entering a home and you can picture yourself in it.
Yes. It's also very nice to walk into a home and be able to sit down and kind of chat about, if we lived in this house, we could put the television over here. And, I'm sitting on the sofa and look at the view to the backyard. You can't do that in an empty home. There's no place to sit. It's echoey. And it's also very hard for most people to figure out how furniture can be placed in a room and whether or not their sofa would fit. But if you show them, this sofa fits in here just fine, I guess this room is large enough, it helps them to figure out the dimensions of the space, the purpose of the spaces, that sort of thing. So it has proven, even in our business, we know that or even with our own personal clients, I should say, we know that those homes that we stage sell faster. And we've also sold them at a higher price per square foot for the neighborhood as well. So
I track those numbers. So for example, our homes on average sell 38 days faster than the market average. Mm-hmm. So we have that. And then typically we get 1.5 percentage points higher on sales price than the market average as well. So we pay for ourselves in a lot of ways. We sell faster and we sell for more.
Yeah.
You had asked whether or not we had ever planned to work together, and Mark had mentioned that it was always just the two of us. And when we first left Texas, that was one thing that we were very sad about, that it would just be the two of us and we would be away from our families. Mm-hmm. But it ended up being such a blessing in disguise because we became each other's confidant and best friend, and there were no family members kind of interfering. And that's really what solidified our team, our marriage, our family. Mm-hmm. So it was a good thing.
That was actually something I was going to get into. How, when you have pressure personally at home and then, at work, how do you resolve those with the working together as well?
Well, I think we have different roles.
Yeah.
So I don't really, within our company, I think we have different roles, and I don't really feel like we have any conflict with each other. But we like to bounce ideas off of each other.
But we have to pick our times. She knows when I'm tired, and kind of the same. I know better than to start talking to her real early in the morning. Mm-hmm. I need her to kind of ease into things. and so it's like, okay, because it can't always be talking about the business all the time. It's like, okay, can we pick our times? Many times I actually set an appointment with her. I'll say,
You
okay,
did mention that. You
yeah.
did
I
mention
say,
that,
hey,
you guys.
could we just get together and talk at 1:00 today? I've got a list, and I write a list of things that I want to talk to her about. But that way, I don't get in the way of something she wants to do. I'm more open to being approached all the time. But
I don't like to have my schedule changed on me.
yeah.
So, yeah, he does. He has access to my calendar and he will send me a meeting request, when he sees an opening. So, and of course I have access to his calendar as well. So I can send him, a Google Calendar invite for my son's tennis, match or whatnot. So,
I mean, we know it sounds funny. We're in the same house, but it's just better to do it that way. But it helps the focus also.
No, agree.
It's like, okay, hey, you're not in between, we work from home a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, she's trying to take the laundry from here to there, and it's like, oh, well, I need to talk to you about when are we going to, stage this house? And it's like, well, anyway, but she knows that like I mentioned, at 1:00, she's at her desk, she's looking at her notebooks, and she can figure these things out. It's fair to her.
So do you have a routine? Because I think when I first stopped working in corporate, I think I was trying to go with the flow, but that didn't really work. Soon enough, I realized I needed to have some type of routine.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that offers you a little bit more freedom. Like, when you're going to be focused on something and then you come back to it, or you take a break and you have to do something else or pick up the kids, and after a certain time, you're blocked off pretty much.
Right.
What would you say a day in the life of you as a staging, on the staging side, and you as a real estate would go?
I still maintain what I would consider my corporate hours.
Okay.
My days my hours look exactly like that. If not a little bit longer at the end of the day. Okay. So, I'm still starting. I'm at my desk pretty much. It sounds nerdy. I'm at my desk by 6 every morning.
Okay.
And so, but I do it on purpose, because I go from 6 to 7:30, make Caleb's breakfast at 7:30, get him out the door, and then I'm back into my thing.
Okay.
And then you work the regular you work the regular 8-5 hours, but then you might also show houses at night. So when you're on your own, your hours stretch out a little bit more. There's not a real cutoff date. You follow the clients even more than you did before.
Yeah, often Mark is on Sunday afternoons, he is talking to clients, where he never did that in corporate, but you have to be available when your client needs you. So my days are not quite as structured as Mark's. My days they vary greatly. So, I usually exercise in the mornings, whereas Mark exercises in the evenings. He's a morning person. I'm not necessarily. But I also incorporate, my exercise as a way to talk to other people, connect with other people, and, talk to them about their real estate needs. Yeah. And,
not on purpose. She's really good at that. And I love her going, because she'll come home with stuff. It's the craziest thing. But,
yeah, you may call it playing mahjong. I call it networking. Yes, you may call it going to the gym or playing tennis. I call it networking. So a typical day for me would be exercise in the morning. A staging consultation is when I am going to a seller's home. They are planning on staying in their home while their house is on the market. So we walk through their home and I kind of tell them what things they should do in order to make their home present well. So that might include things like furniture arrangement or depersonalization or editing some of their possessions or adding a few things here or there. Tomorrow I am going to be staging a parade home, and that is a different service. So this is a spec home that a builder has built, and I will be putting in my inventory of furniture. That would be rugs and sofas and chairs and tables and dishes and towels and decorative items, artwork. And I have a moving team that helps me do all the heavy lifting. And
literally.
They literally do all the heavy lifting. I come up with a design plan. I like to take cues from the architecture of the home. So if the home has saltillo tile, we might incorporate some warmer earth colors to it. If in this particular house tomorrow, there is the builder has incorporated some blue and gray cabinetry. So that's kind of my jumping off point for the color palette of this home. And I'll come up with a design plan. I will pack and decide what furniture pieces need to go tomorrow. And then I'll meet the guys in the morning and they'll load the truck. They'll unload us at the house. And then I'll spend the rest of the day just kind of putting everything into place. So that's what a vacant stage day would be. I may go back on Friday just to fluff and make sure I have everything done the way I would want it done. Okay. So those don't happen every day. There's probably a few a month, but so that gives me more time to play Mahjong.
Nice. So I had a question. So the growing up years, because I'm in my kids are 10 and 6, and they're still a little bit young. And I worked in corporate for 17 years, and I've had to take a step back. How was that? How would you say in terms of when you started staging, you did it in between when they were at school, and how did you juggle, that work and doing this on the side? I think you had mentioned before that you had a few clients and you did it when you could, and you were back to pick them up at the bus?
Yes. So I started off doing design work and then was introduced to staging by a friend who was also a designer. And I loved it because a staging consultation or even moving things around for the client, I was able to get that done in a day. And I was able to get to the bus stop in time to meet my children. So that's when I decided that was going to be my specialty. Some designers work in residential, some work commercial, some work restaurants, but I just loved the staging aspect of it. And we had 2 boys at the time. They were 8 and 10, and then we had a newborn. So I wasn't able to work full time, and Mark was still traveling because he was still working in his corporate career. So one of us had to be home for the children. And so that was very, very part-time. But then in 2017, when our second son left for college, we just had one at home. And that's when I said, I really want to make my business a full-time business. And that's when I kind of launched the vacant staging as well. So it works out really well because on the days that I'm busy, Mark kind of takes up the slack as far as making sure that our son is, he's old enough now, he drives himself, but when he was younger, Mark would make sure that our son was picked up and dinner was made and whatnot. And then on the days when he's busy, I'm the one that does it.
How did you do that? Was it conversations? Like, have you always kind of checked in with each other, open communication? Because I think, for example, kind of just giving my example, my husband had a small business. I worked in corporate. We had the 2 boys, and it was hard to balance both of them. I was stressed. He was stressed. And, the kids took the brunt of it pretty much, which is unfair to them.
Yeah.
And so I decided to take a step back. And so the focus now is the small business. So what I'm hearing is that you say you started maybe less than 10 years ago. So it's never too late. How you were there for your kids.
Yes.
He focused on corporate. Now you guys came full circle working together.
Yes. we kind of decided from the beginning who was going to be the breadwinner of the family. And in our family, it was Mark. So, when I started working my business, even though it was very part-time, I would look at his calendar and see what days he was going to be out of town. And I would make sure that I was scheduling appointments on the days that he was in town so that he could help me with the children. But, then the children got older, and then they, my oldest son could drive the other two around. So that was very helpful. And, I guess that's pretty much it, right, Gabe?
Yeah, because
So-
I think that part to me is interesting because I don't hear too much of that, and we're doing it now, but in the beginning it was very stressful. But that makes sense. You do have to have that conversation and say, okay, who's going to, like you said, be the breadwinner, and who's going to pick up, and be at home with the kids.
Right. But there was a piece, though, that we figured out. Remember, we have a gap between our first two and our youngest. And one of the things, I missed a lot of the first two because I was gone. Okay. And so I made a conscious effort. We live here in New Braunfels because of the lifestyle we wanted. But I made an effort more with our youngest that I would figure out how to be the one that picked him up from school, not all the time, but occasionally, and be more available and more present than I had been. And that was a lifestyle choice. So we did that.
And I also think too, Mark is my cheerleader, and I'm his cheerleader, and I want him to succeed, and he wants me to succeed. And so he does everything he can to help me with my business. And if that means moving mattresses at 8:00 at night, that's what he does. And I want him to succeed too. And if that means me handling everything at the house while he is out seeing clients, that's what I do. So, I think that is probably the foundation of our team.
Right. But today you were providing drywall contacts to a client. So that was...
Yes. Yes.
Has being business partners made you better life partners?
It's a great question, but it's part of us. I don't know how to describe it. It's just, we do everything together already.
Yeah. And
I know we're so boring.
We were very boring.
We're sorry, but it's like, okay, well, how can we not be doing this as well?
I don't see a division. It's just, it all kind of melds together. Right. Our personal life, our business life, it all kind of.
And I definitely do see that because you complement each other.
Yeah. And I don't see any kind of division of, okay, we're going to talk about work. We're going to talk about personal stuff. It all kind of blends. So.
And that only got better after I left the corporate world, because there's no more distinction between, it was the 8 to 5. I'm working corporately, and she understood it. But now the blend of the personal and the business, there's not a line. But it's one we have to watch and make sure that I'm not talking to her at 10:00 at night about, hey, I got a listing call tomorrow. Can you help me do? And so we kind of know, like I mentioned, I can tell when she gets a little bit tired, or that's a nice way of me saying she doesn't want to hear from me.
Well, I think Mark is so enthusiastic. He loves real estate. He loves helping people. He loves working. And so he never turns it off. And there are times I have to say, please, I do not want to talk about real estate right now. So just stop talking.
When you left corporate, do you think it was the right time? Were you already planning to leave corporate? What were the circumstances that led you to come full time into real estate?
We were planning to make the jump. We had already thought about it quite a bit, and I thought it was going to happen just before COVID, to tell you the truth. And then the world changed, and so we stayed corporate wise through COVID, and some of the transitions that happened then. But as you know, corporations changed during that time. And then whenever we came back, it even changed. The businesses continued to evolve, and so it was just time. The other thing is that we're looking at age. I had this dream of I wanted to start this company, and we we had the first two kids. In fact, we wanted to make sure that the first two got out of college and we were done with them. We're down to one. And so if we don't start soon, we'll miss the opportunity completely. So I'm doing what I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
So came full circle.
yeah.
What do you admire most about your business partner? What do you admire about Mark in terms of how he does business and vice versa?
I just love Mark to pieces. I just do. I met Mark on my 21st birthday and I just absolutely love him. And he's such a kind person. And, that translates into the way he works as well. And he's always been in sales. And, you think of a salesperson as being kind of cutthroat. And he has always said sales is just about helping people. And I think that really comes across. And he's very dedicated to his work. He wants to help people. And,
I would agree with that because the first person I called actually when I was thinking of leaving, I called Mark.
oh, you did?
Because he was the only person at the time that I realized had left corporate and was doing something else. And so I called him up and he basically gave me a book to read. And I read the book. At first I ordered it and they sent me the wrong thing, so I had to reorder it. But that book did help because it was basically talking about all the doubts of like, there's so many things that you can put in your head and that you have doubts, but keep moving forward because.
The dream giver.
Oh, you're the dream giver. Yeah.
Yeah. The dream giver.
Yeah.
And, and I do think that is another, attribute, is he is very positive. And when I think, the sky is falling, he brings me back down and tells me how everything's going to be okay and helps me to have peace about things. So, because it was scary, it was scary kind of going out on your own and leaving that corporate career and leaving the benefits that come with it and starting something brand new, but he definitely has a vision and,
Did you already have a network? Because I know you said that you started out with property management and then you did corporate. You were at home with the kids and you started the staging and doing things on your own. But coming back into real estate full time, what was that like in terms of networking? Did you have people that you could reach out to, or was it easy to go into from sales into real estate full time?
Well, the tough part is that my sales were more national in scope. Mm-hmm. So there aren't any customers here that I'd already built that I could go and start talking to. So that was completely different. Mm-hmm. But we've been in this community for quite some time, so I've got a pretty good network here. And so that was helpful. Her network's even better than mine. Will always be better than mine. And so, but no, there wasn't a group that I say, hey, I'm going to start. It is interesting. We're with Keller Williams, for example, because so many of her realtor clients are here. Mm-hmm. And so it was an easy, we got to know about the company a little bit. So we had some places where we kind of knew to start. Because of her staging business, when I got my first listing, she said, okay, you need to call this person, take your photos, and you need to do. So she actually had a lot of the contacts that I needed because of what she'd been doing for years. So that was tremendously helpful.
Oh, right.
And Mark, as Mark said, we have been in our community for 21 years. We moved back here in 2004. And in 2007, Mark ran for city council, New Braunfels City Council, and he won. And he served 2 terms. So he was a city council person for 6 years. And during that time, he really made a lot of local contacts. So when he went into real estate, he just kind of, took out his Rolodex, so to speak, and went down the list and kind of shared with everyone that he was changing careers and could be here to be the real estate advisor if they needed it. So,
and in corporate, did you have mentors? How, let's talk a little bit about corporate and what that was like for you.
So, a lot of my mentors, the guys I really looked up to, were moved out of the company the same way you saw them being moved out later. And so what ended up really happening to me is all my sponsors were gone. And so that's how I got stuck on a sales team that
You had no connection with
I mean,
probably the person leading the
at one
group.
point I was a VP of sales for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but I kept finding out different ways to stick. And we chose this community on purpose, but there's not a lot of corporate opportunity here. If I was still in Atlanta, I'd have a whole, who knows whether or not I'd gone back into real estate or not, because there's just so many corporate headquarters there that I would have gone and just,
Or even Houston.
or even in Houston. And so, but we wanted to live here for our family.
Yeah.
And so it limited me corporate wise.
Do you think you're going to be here for a while?
No, I will never leave New Braunfels. I'm home.
Oh,
So
okay.
so we have we're well entrenched in the neighborhoods here. I have my name on buildings here.
From his city council experience.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So because he served 6 years, that council approved bridges and fire department buildings, and we have a city-owned gym. Would you call it a gym or exercise facility? They have pickleball courts, they have a swimming pool, indoor swimming pool. It has a big walking trail. He was on the city council that approved the funding, so his name is on that building. We have our city park, and
what brought you guys to New Braunfels?
So she really wanted to be in Austin.
Because Austin's cool.
Yeah, Austin's cool. And so we're 45 minutes from Austin. Good traffic.
Yeah.
But we can't talk to somebody in New York about traffic.
Oh, I know, right?
It's a whole other story.
It's like 2 hours just to go to 20 minutes to Brooklyn.
Yeah. So we're close enough, and New Braunfels is a great community, and it was very much like the small town I grew up in just outside of Houston. But it's also a vacation spot. So I spent almost every summer of my life here.
Okay.
And so it's kind of a hidden tennis hotspot. It's maybe one of the best tennis communities in the entire country.
Okay.
And so, but yeah. So when I said, hey, what if when we were leaving Atlanta, what if we came back to New Braunfels instead of, because there was no way we were going back to Houston. That was not happening. Austin had changed too much, too many people. It was just a different city than where we met and kind of grew up adult wise.
Yeah.
So we're close enough to Austin to go see it, but we don't deal with the traffic, and the schools here are smaller. We just thought it would be a better family life for us. So that's why we're here.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's proven to be the case. Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll pop up to Austin to have dinner, and or to go watch a football game, the Texas game, and or just to go out to the lake and we can still enjoy the things we like about Austin, but this is home. But there are times where we go up to Austin and we are stuck in traffic and we think, oh my gosh, please let us just get back to New Braunfels.
Agreed, because I kind of live a little 40 minutes from the city.
Okay.
But it's far enough and close enough at the same time.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to couples that are thinking of going into business together?
Something we constantly work on is we work on defining the roles and who's responsible for what.
I was just going to say that too.
Yeah. It's like, so have that plan. Make sure you know, and because it's real easy for one person to try to jump in and do everything.
Yeah.
And that can be frustrating for the other. So define the roles and make sure you understand who's supposed to be doing what.
And I think that's I think that's day one in corporate as well. It's like define roles and responsibilities is the first thing. Yeah. And I think that does go a long way, even as husband and wife. What are you going to do? What are you going to help me with? It's just having that communication.
Right.
You're absolutely right, Nancy. It's exactly the same thing. And I like to say that I'm the fun one and Mark is the numbers guy. And so that's kind of the roles that we have.
But what's so interesting though is she's the one that's very rigid about having things done a certain way. So you say, hey, I'm the numbers guy, and she's the fun. So it's almost kind of a flip flop there in parts. It's really, It's
I'm
not
very
fun.
detailed.
She's very detailed and
So detailed in business, but fun in personal.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
And you?
I
Are you consistent throughout?
pretty
You're
consistent all the way
consistent?
through.
Okay.
I'm pretty consistent. So,
Yeah.
but even the way we even break down, we have three categories we kind of break our business down into. We call it price, presentation, and publicity.
Okay.
And she helps with the presentation of the way that we face out. We do
The
a little,
staging would be under that umbrella.
Okay.
yeah,
As presentation, marketing.
Yeah.
right. And so, and then even the networking that she does, I consider that part of our presentation and publicity, where I group pricing under everything. I figure out how homes will be priced, but I do all the contracts, I do all of that, the structured part of the business. I don't want to say
The not fun
administrative.
part.
Yeah, the known part. It's me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
but it's the part that makes fun for me. What's this house really worth? What do I think I can really sell it for?
Yeah.
And trying to dig into those details and figure it out. I enjoy it.
You enjoy it. That's good. Like I said, you guys complement each other. I think that works well.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you want to share, with who's listening in terms of your business, in terms of just anything in general? I know you guys are in this area. So anybody that is in this area thinking of buying a home, I know you said you network, but just anything.
Well, I was going to say New Braunfels is situated almost halfway between Austin and San Antonio. So even though our specialty is New Braunfels, even though we focus on New Braunfels, we actually can work in both Austin and San Antonio. And
we do.
And we do, yes. In fact, I think we had a potential client reach out to us about a small home near the university in San Antonio. Now their children have graduated. They want to go ahead and sell that. So they were able to contact us about that. And also with Mark growing up in Houston, he actually knows the Houston market pretty well also.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that we're just focused on our community. Yes, this is where we thrive, but gosh, our reach is pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this something that you see doing until, well into years later? This is
I
what
think
you
so.
want. Yeah.
I think so. We work with our clients that trends about our age or a little bit older. But one of the things that we see and notice is that those that stay, our most active clients, also are the ones that age very well. It's just we just did, and it's like, okay, so what? Don't stop.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is don't think it's too late to get started either. We really jumped in wholeheartedly with the entrepreneurial, left corporate at the age of 55.
Yeah.
And
I know. I kind of caught that when you said that after your son went to college, that like 10 years ago, pretty much you started full time.
Yes. And I'd always had this longing in my heart because we met at the University of Texas, and I have a degree from a very good school, but I've always been, I've been a stay-at-home mom, and my husband's been the breadwinner, and I always had a desire in my heart to have something that was just mine, something that I could feel accomplished with and successful in, because I've had friends that I graduated with and they've had great careers, and part of me was slightly jealous about that. And so I just never knew if it was going to happen or not, but it did. And so no, age is just a number. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can start your business. You can live your dream at any age. So
that's refreshing.
Yes.
I think that's the most refreshing, because I feel the same way. I feel like everybody wants to do it all. And sometimes you can, it just comes in different chapters.
Yes.
And so what I like that you mentioned was that although you were a stay-at-home mom, you found something that gave you, lightened up your day.
Yes.
That later became something that you now do full time.
Yes. And I didn't know it at the time, but that was my training, so to speak, for, the business that I have now. But I just did it because it was fulfilling and it made me happy. And I needed a creative outlet. And what Mark was saying about some of our clients and friends that are in their late 70s, and they still are painting their homes, and they're staining their decks, and they're doing all these things that you would think that they would hire out, but it's because they do it that they're so healthy and young and active.
Yes.
And so, I think that's really important for us to stay that way.
Yeah. So, just to kind of wrap up, closing remarks, Mark, what is advice that you would have for someone entering the workforce in corporate, and what do you think would help them move up the ladder if that's what they want, especially early on in the career? You know, if you come out of college, you want to have a corporate job, you want to get paid well. What is the advice that you have for those?
I don't advise people to do it anymore. I don't. Um, the way the corporate life has changed so much. I know that's not the answer you were
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
for, probably,
No,
but it's just no.
but it's your honest answer.
Yeah, yeah. I really, for instance, our son right now, the ones in the senior in high school, we're looking for ways where he can be somewhat more entrepreneurial, so that he can control his future as opposed to letting corporate life dictate it for him. And so what that'll look like, I don't know, but we're encouraging to explore different avenues and not think necessarily I need to go to this school, get this so someone can hire me. I'm saying don't leave it in someone else's hands anymore. I think it's just a different world than where we grew up.
I would agree with that because I have two boys, and I'm seeing now that I've stepped out of corporate. There's so many things that you can try and fail and try. And so with my kids, I can see one is going to probably finish college, one may not. He may go into vocational, who knows? But I don't force that upon them either anymore. I agree. I think I'm taking a different approach and saying, you know, what do you want to do? What do you think you're going to do? And let them try it for however long.
Yes, and in fact, we're part of we are also part of some philanthropy groups in town. One of the organizations we are part of is the Braunfels Foundation Trust, and the trust, our goal is to raise money for scholarships to vocational and trade schools.
Nice.
And that is something that we discovered with my business, because when you're working in a residential home, designing or staging, you know, people are always looking for a licensed electrician and, you know, licensed HVAC, licensed plumbers. We need those skills. We need those trades. And college and corporate life is not, it's not the path. It's not the one and only path. You know, when I went to school, I thought that was going to be my path. It ended up not being my path. And in retrospect, I'm happy about that.
And so my last question is, what piece of advice do you have for that person that has left corporate and is venturing into something brand new?
You got to be passionate about it. So you got to find something that you can really, it's not about, hey, I think I can make money at this, but because you got to be passionate about it because it's hard. And those nights when you didn't get the sale you thought you were going to get, you got to be able to say, no, I absolutely love what I'm doing and it's going to work out, versus, you know, if you're just trying to pursue a dollar, it won't work out for you.
I love that answer. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, Nancy.
It's wonderful.
It was so nice to visit with you.
You too.